When I opened my eyes after 8 long months in the hospital, the first face I saw was my mother's, pretending she had been the guardian angel by my bedside the whole time. But when we got to the welcome home dinner and she tried to kiss my forehead, I told the truth so loud the cutlery shook. It wasn't the balcony, Aunt Rosa. She didn't find me on the ground. She pushed me. And that night, my grandfather delivered the justice the law would have taken a decade to catch up to. Hello, my dear ones. Look who's here once again to sit with y'all for a little talk. I'm Grandma Lorraine Prescott, 79 years old, born and raised in the quiet little town of Harbor Ridge, Mississippi, right where the magnolia trees bloom big as dinner plates and the air hangs warm even in springtime. I'm sitting right here in my kitchen, in this creaky old rocking chair my late husband built with his own hands more than 50 years ago. And right beside me is my old blue enamel stove, the same one I use every day to make cornbread, stews, and everything else that keeps this home smelling like comfort. Children, do you know what I was doing right before turning this camera on? I was rolling out dough for peach hand pies because my great-grandkids will soon come rushing through that back door from school. It's our tradition. Every afternoon they come home to something warm waiting for them. Pies, biscuits, sometimes sweet bread if I'm feeling fancy. I started this tradition when my first great-grandchild, little Ellie, was only 4 years old. She'd walk in with those big brown eyes searching the kitchen before she even said hello. My dear ones, hit that like button down below and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget the notification bell so you don't miss any of my stories. And tell me in the comments what state or country you're watching from, and what time of day it is where you are. I always read everything y'all write. Now children, as peaceful as this kitchen is today, full of cinnamon smells and the sound of little feet running across the wooden floor, it wasn't always like this for me. There was a time when the kitchen of my childhood home was the most frightening place in the world. A place where footsteps didn't mean safety, they meant danger. A place where a slammed cupboard door made my heart feel like it would leap out of my chest. I grew up far from here, in a town called Pine Hollow, tucked deep in the Mississippi Delta. I was born in 1946. My daddy, Samuel, was a fisherman, tall and strong, always smelling like the river. To the neighbors, he was dependable, respected, a church-going man with firm handshakes and a deep voice. My mother, Darlene, was delicate, always tired, always humming to herself to drown out whatever she didn't want to hear. We lived in a little shotgun house with faded paint and a porch that leaned to one side. 3 rooms, one tiny backyard, dirt floors smoothed by my mother's broom. And me, the only child, always trying to make myself invisible. I remember the mornings clearly. Mama made corn porridge with just a drizzle of syrup when times were tight. Coffee percolated slowly on the stove, and steam rose from the pot like a ghost. I loved mornings because Daddy wasn't home. He left before dawn to check his nets. Felt free. My shoulders felt light. School I could laugh, talk, run. Miss Parker, our teacher, always said I had the neatest handwriting in class. She'd pat my shoulder and tell me I was bright, such a sweet girl. But afternoons, my dears, afternoons were a different story. Because around 3 p.m., Daddy's boots would hit the steps of our porch. And depending on how hard those boots struck, I knew whether the house that day held peace or terror. Daddy had 2 faces, one for the world, and one for home. Inside those thin wooden walls, he was a storm. Not every day, just often enough that I learned to listen for every breath he took, to predict danger the way some folks predict rain. If he didn't like how Mama folded a towel, if supper wasn't hot enough, if I left a book on the table or forgot to sweep the dirt from the doorway, there'd be consequences. He used the word discipline the way some people use blessings. Too often. And never gently. Mama would whisper, "Lorraine, honey, go to your room. Stay quiet." And I obeyed, though it didn't always save me. I learned to speak softly, to walk on air, to hold my breath. A child living like a shadow in her own home. I was 10 the day everything changed. It was late August. Thick heat, the kind that feels like you're wading through warm syrup. Mama had walked to help our neighbor, Mrs. Holloway, who'd just had a baby. Before leaving she said, "Lorraine, keep an eye on the beans. Stir them every so often." Tried, my dears. I really did. But children are children. I got lost in a little daydream, drawing pictures with my finger on the dusty floorboards. And before I knew it, the smell hit me. Burning. Dark. Bitter. The pot of beans had scorched. Thick smoke curled up to the ceiling. The bottom was black as coal. Froze. My hands shook so bad I couldn't even get water fast enough to stop it. And that's when I heard the sound that still rings in my bones. Daddy's truck pulling up. Too early. Too sudden. I knew then that something awful was about to happen. He came through the door with eyes already narrowed, jaw tight, sweat dripping down his temples. "What's this?" he yelled, grabbing the pot, tossing it down hard enough that beans splattered across the floor. And before I could explain, before I could breathe, his hand struck my shoulder, then my jaw, then the back of my head. Nothing made sense after that. Only flashes. His voice, angry and sharp. My knees hitting the ground. My mother's face as she ran through the door too late to stop anything. And then darkness. A darkness so deep it felt like the world had closed its eyes. I later learned I was unconscious for 8 months. 8 whole months I lay in a hospital in Jackson, while Daddy told everyone I had slipped off the balcony. Poor little thing. Neighbors sent casseroles. Church ladies prayed over him. He cried in front of doctors. Touched my hand in front of nurses. Pure theater. Pure lies. But my mother, weak, quiet, too thin, finally told my grandfather the truth. My grandfather, Raymond Prescott, was a man of the old days. No nonsense. No excuses. The kind of man whose silence alone could straighten a room full of grown men. He told Mama, "When that child wakes up, you tell me. I'll gather the whole family. We'll have a welcome home dinner." A dinner, my dears, in Southern families, is never just a dinner. It's a reckoning. The day I went home, Mama wheeled me into Grandpa's house, everyone sitting around a long wooden table. Uncles, aunts, cousins, second cousins, all waiting. Daddy walked toward me with that fake smile he used for the world. "Sugar," he said, leaning in, but I pulled back and the truth came out of my mouth like a dam breaking. "She didn't fall," I said. "Mama didn't save me. She hurt me. She pushed me." And the room went silent. Grandpa stood up slow as thunder rising. And Daddy's face went pale as ashes. My life changed that day. I never went back to Pine Hollow. I went to live with Grandpa and Grandma Prescott on their little farm outside Harbor Ridge. Mama stayed too, quiet but healing. And Daddy? Well, he spent months recovering from what happened after I spoke the truth. After that, the family made sure he never came near us again. My dears, that farm saved my life. Grandpa taught me how to plant tomatoes, how to mend a fence, how to walk with dignity. Grandma taught me cooking, sewing, laughter, softness. All things I had never known were allowed for children. I grew up surrounded by love. And when I was 19, I married my sweetheart, Thomas, a gentle man with kind hands. We raised 4 children in this very house. And today I have 8 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren who fill my days with joy. They run through my home laughing, shouting, knocking things over. And not once have they ever felt fear for doing so. Because children should never fear home. Never fear footsteps. Never fear being themselves. My dear ones watching me now. If you know a child who's too quiet, too obedient, always nervous, please ask gently. Offer a safe ear. A child rarely says, "I'm scared." They show it. And to all the grown folks watching who lived through something like what I did, it's never too late to heal. Never too late to tell the truth. Never too late to reclaim your worth. Now, my dears, we've reached the end of this hard story, but also a hopeful one. Because I am living proof that scars don't define you. Love can rebuild what fear once destroyed. And courage, yes, courage, can change an entire life. If this story touched your heart, if you believe more people need to hear messages like this, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so this grandma here can keep sharing stories of strength and survival. And if you watched all the way to the end, write one word in the comments. Courage. 'Cause courage saved me. And courage can save someone else today. God bless you, my dear ones. Until our next conversation.